I thank the representative of the United Kingdom for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of China.
主席，我要感谢迪卡洛副秘书长的通报，也欢迎波兰国务秘书出席今天的会议。中方一贯主张各国遵循联合国宪章的宗旨和原则处理国际关系。我们注意到波兰、俄罗斯、白俄罗斯等有关各方近日围绕无人机事件的表态和反应，呼吁
We call on all parties to exercise calm and restraint, properly settle disputes through dialogue and consultation, avoid misunderstanding and misjudgment, and prevent any possible expansion or escalation of the situation. In the current context, any misunderstanding or misjudgment will deepen the trust deficit. Any confrontational rhetoric may spark an escalation, and any military clash could trigger broader instability. President, this drone incident is the result of a spillover of the Ukraine crisis. In the recent past, we witnessed some positive momentum of dialogue and negotiations, yet significant gaps persist in the positions and claims of the parties concerned across a range of critical issues. The road to restoring peace is still long and arduous. Meanwhile, the situation on the battlefield remains extremely grave. The profound suffering of ordinary people is deeply distressing. What the international community needs most at present is goodwill rather than hostility, mutual accommodation in place of military confrontation, and de-escalation rather than further escalation. China calls on all parties to adhere to the three principles, namely, no spillover of the battlefield, no escalation of the conflict, and no fueling of the flames by any party, and act without delay to promote de-escalation. We urge the parties concerned to demonstrate political will, sustain the momentum for peace talks, continue building consensus, and strive to reach a peace agreement as soon as possible. We also call on the international community and regional countries to foster a positive atmosphere, create favorable conditions, and provide necessary assistance to this end. President, China's position on the Ukraine issue has been objective, impartial, and consistent. We are committed to promoting peace talks and seeking a political solution. Guided by the four shoes proposed by President Xi Jinping, China has been working tirelessly for peace, making every effort to promote dialogue. We stayed engaged with the parties concerned, sent a special envoy for shuttle diplomacy, and initiated the Friends for Peace group at the UN to consolidate consensus for peace and advance peace efforts. China stands ready to continue working with the international community to play a constructive role in promoting an early political settlement of the crisis. Thank you, President.
I thank the representative of China for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of Guyana.
Thank you, Mr. President. Guyana appreciates the Presidency's swift response in convening today's meeting at Poland's request, and thanks USG DiCarlo for her briefing. We also welcome the participation of the Secretary of State of Poland and representatives of Latvia, the Kingdom of Netherlands, Belarus, Ukraine, and the European Union in this meeting. Mr. President, Guyana is deeply distressed about the emerging trend of eroding respect for international law, including the United Nations Charter. Yesterday, we gathered in this very room to condemn Israel's most recent and atrocious breach of the most fundamental principles of the United Nations Charter when it struck Doha on Tuesday. Today, the Security Council is once again called upon to address allegations of breaches of national sovereignty and the provisions of the United Nations Charter. In his letter of 10 September, the permanent representative of Poland notified the President of the Security Council that Russian drones had crossed into Poland's airspace between the evening of 9th of September and the morning of 10th of September and were preemptively shot down. One of the drones reportedly struck a residential building in eastern Poland. We have taken note of subsequent public statements issued by Russian authorities in response to the incident, including their readiness to hold consultations with Polish authorities. Mr. President, Even as investigations into the incidents continue, the Security Council must emphasize restraint and de-escalation. Indeed, we must do so firmly and unequivocally and insist that the facts surrounding the incident be thoroughly clarified. International law grants each sovereign nation complete and exclusive sovereignty over the airspace above its territory, and any violation, especially under current conditions, could understandably be viewed as a threat or act of aggression. The gravity of this situation, therefore, cannot be underestimated. In choosing to join the United Nations and accepting the obligations of its charter, we each agreed to be bound by all its provisions, including the prohibition on the use of force. Enshrined in Article 2.4, this prohibition is one of the Charter's most explicit provisions and the foremost foundational principle of international law. Guyana therefore reiterates that every member state of the United Nations has an obligation to uphold these principles of the UN Charter and the wider body of international law. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Guyana for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of the United States.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Undersecretary General